Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is the public hearing and the public meeting of the Committee of the Whole regarding bills number 260199, 260200, 260201, 260202, 260203, 260204, 260205, 260206, 260208, 260209, and resolution number 260227. Ms. Lawhead, will you please take roll?
Councilmember Squilla, Councilmember Gautier, Councilmember Jones, Councilmember Young, Councilmember Driscoll, Councilmember Lozada, Councilmember Bass, Councilmember Phillips, Councilmember O'Neill, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, Councilmember Thomas, Councilmember Harity, Councilmember Ahmed, Councilmember Landau, Councilmember Brooks, Councilmember O'Rourke, Council President Johnson.
Present. Thank you very much. A quorum of the committee is present, and this hearing is now called to order. Ms. Lawhead, will you please read the title of the bills and resolution?
Bill number 260199, an ordinance adopting the operating budget for fiscal year 2027. Bill number 260200, an ordinance to adopt a fiscal year 2027 capital budget. Bill number 260201, an ordinance to adopt a capital program for the 6 fiscal years 2027 through 2032 inclusive. Bill number 260202, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, 2400 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Hotel Room Rental Tax by providing for an additional excise tax on hotel room rentals, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260203, an ordinance amending Subcode A, the Philadelphia Administrative Code of Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, the Building Construction and Occupancy Code, by adding and revising Zoning Board of Adjustment fees and provisions regarding hearing scheduling, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260204, an ordinance amending Title III of the Philadelphia Code entitled Air Management Code to modify the amounts of license and permit fees under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260205, an ordinance amending Section 19-1806 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Authorization of Realty Use and Occupancy Tax to clarify the imposition of the tax on the use or occupancy of real estate with respect to cell towers, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260206, an ordinance amending Chapter 600 of the Philadelphia Code Asbestos by adding and revising provisions related to various fees, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260208, an ordinance amending Chapter 19-1800 of the Philadelphia Code entitled School Tax Authorization to add a new Section 19-1808 entitled Authorization of Rideshare Use Tax to authorize the Board of the School District of Philadelphia to levy a tax upon the use by a passenger of a transportation network company for a prearranged ride that originates in Philadelphia, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260209, an ordinance amending Title 19 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Finance, Taxes, and Collections to add a new Chapter 19-4800 entitled Retail Delivery Tax to establish a tax on orders for the delivery in Philadelphia of retail consumer and other tangible goods, all under certain terms and conditions. Resolution number 260227, providing for the approval by the Council of the City of Philadelphia of a revised 5-year financial plan for the City of Philadelphia covering fiscal years 2027 through 2031 and incorporating revisions with respect to fiscal year 2026, which is to be submitted by the Mayor to the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority pursuant to an intergovernmental cooperation agreement by and between the City and the Authority.
Thank you very much. Today we hold the public hearing of the Committee of the Whole to consider the bills read by the clerk that constitute proposed operating and capital spending measures for fiscal year 2027, a capital program and a forward-looking capital plan for fiscal year 2027 through fiscal year 2032. We will now begin taking testimony from the public on the city's proposed FY27 budget and 6-year capital program for FY27 through FY 2032. Before proceeding, I will lay a few ground rules on how we will proceed with public testimony this afternoon. To ensure that there is an opportunity for all of you to be heard, certain ground rules have been established as follows. Your testimony should be about the bills listed on the calendar. Once your name is called, you will then have up to 2 minutes to speak. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 2-minute limit. Once you are asked to begin your testimony, a timer will be started. When there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. Once you are allotted Your allotted time is passed. You will be asked to conclude your remarks. We have a morning session as well as an afternoon session, so we want to get as many people as possible an opportunity to participate. And so with that being said, Ms. Lawhead, will you please call the first panel?
We'll have Greg Bulware, Robert Harris, Jameel Mitchell, Brenda Rivas, Esther Jones, and Catherine Martin. If you could please make your way to the podium.
Good morning. Just state your name for the record, and I just want to start off by acknowledging President Greg Bulware, President of District Council 33, and the work that your members do in terms of keeping our city clean, the sanitation workers, as well as Robert Harris, Ashland District Council 47th, and all of the work that your members are doing professionally to keep our City of Philadelphia moving forward as well. So welcome to City Council. Please begin your testimony.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. President Jonathan Johnson and all members of council, folks from Philadelphia that are all present, and city workers that are present with us, and our esteemed members of District Council 33 and 47 that are present as well. And I also noticed we had some public school teachers here as well, so I want to acknowledge them as well. I'm simply here to make sure I advocate for a plea to make sure that public services are completely funded inside of this budget that we have in hand, and not just services that are applicable to members of District Council 33, but public services that are applicable to every form of public service throughout the course of this city, whether it be District Council 47, FOP, Local 22, the PFT, whatever is necessary to make sure that the city has everything that's required so that the members and citizens of the city can have a quality of life and a reassurance that there's some investments that's being taken back into them and their children and their workplaces and their homes and those things like that. Those things are vital and crucial to people on a regular basis. I know that they're super important to our members of District Council 33. You know that just under a year ago, our members were on strike at District Council 33, fighting for dignity and respect and to be able to have a wage in the city so they can actually live in the city which they're required to work in. And while we made minimal gains in that particular area, we're still struggling to make sure that we can affordably live inside the city. Everybody here recognizes that, the utility costs have gone up through the roof. Gas costs have been, now becoming insurmountable for some organizations, and it's definitely a piling up cost that's going on for the city. So we recognize that, but it doesn't hit anybody more than the members of the city that we have to be able to be in these workplaces and advocate and do these jobs to make sure these services are funded. What I'm asking for is to make sure that staffing needs are met throughout this city. This city has a number of issues that are going on up in the next coming months. They're good issues to have because we have FIFA coming up. We have the the All-Star game coming up. These are all positive things in Philadelphia, and we need to make sure we have adequate staffing in place to have it. As it stands now, the majority of our departments stay deficient as far as quality of staffing in there. And so what happens is those workers come in, they're working more, working longer hours and being burnt out. And what we're facing right now is many of the departments are now telling the workers that they're not allowing them to take vacation time in these upcoming months. Well, that's a creation of not having enough staffing in place to make sure that you can meet the necessary requirements that are in place. Also, security. Security is a huge a huge issue that goes on a lot of these workplaces where me particularly feel like we're not meeting that need of the day to make sure that we have security in place at all the facilities that are necessary to make sure that our infrastructure is intact. We have libraries that need to make sure that you have adequate, security. Water department installation to make sure they need to have adequate, security in place. Municipal guards are needed in various locations throughout the city that we haven't necessarily taking the steps and measures to make sure that we are appropriately covering. And reinvesting in our workforce more than anything. We learned throughout the winter how important it is to make sure our workforce is there and viable and it also can make sure that they can meet the needs of the demand for what's going on. And we have, because of low staffing, because of inadequate equipment that we have in place, we were able to meet it at the quality that we would have liked to have done. Nobody is more dedicated than the members of District Council 33 inside of the city in providing these services. But making sure that they have what's necessary to do the job, adequately and professionally as a citizen of the city's need is important. We need to make sure the budget, demands those needs are met. We need to make sure that all the public services are funded in a way that is fiduciarily responsible to the city. And we need to make sure that people feel like they're being reinvested in. A lot of these folks have grown up in public school systems, have gone to schools here that were inadequate throughout their many years, and now they work inside of city facilities that are just as inadequate as some of their schools were at that time. And so you lived your entire lifetime in this city, you're looking at the infrastructure of the dwellings that we own not being maintained and upkept over time. It puts a negative connotation on a lot of imagery for a lot of our people. We have to reinvest in the city. We have to reinvest in our people. We absolutely have to make sure that there's money there and viable and available for our schools and our children. But our workforce is also, because those children then grow up to be adults and wind up working for this great city of ours. And we need to make sure that they can continue their training so that the services that the city of Philadelphia needs are met at a high level. And that we invest in the equipment so that we're not being overcharged when an emergency situation comes up with this city. We watched same-day workers that were being paid more than hourly work than our men and women that do on a regular basis inside of this city, being given PPE and equipment that are not available to our men and women on a regular basis inside their respective work locations. To me, that is unacceptable, and it needs to be reassessed and reevaluated in what goes on. And lastly, I'll touch on, while we made gains in our last contract, they obviously are not enough. We need to continue to keep making strides and gains in that. And why I ask for council's help with this, you all, through legislation, have a ability to have what's called a cost of living, increase to y'all salaries every year, as the administration has. This city, the members, the city workforce, the largest tax base we have in this city. They invest in it every day. Most jobs offer a cost of living increase to what they do every day. I'm asking for consideration and time to be worked upon to make sure that the members and municipal workers inside of this city can be given a cost of living increase that's measurable, that could also be added into their salaries so they can continue to at least do something to offset so that those men and women can have some type of comfort inside living in this city every day. It's a minimal thing, but it's something that needs to be looked at and adjusted. So thank you for your time. I appreciate the work and dedication that you all have, and I know that y'all will take the necessary time to make sure that this budget covers everything that's required for the members and citizens of the city of Philadelphia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council President and members of City Council. Ditto. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today in support of fully funded and fully staffed public and human services for Philadelphia. Throughout this year, our union has worked with Council and the administration to secure funding for operational and capital goals, to fill vacancies and provide our workforce with the tools they need to provide services to the cities of this great citizens, or the citizens of this great city, for safety at our city workplaces, and sustainable retention and recruitment focused pay rates in contract negotiations and in pension funding. To fund a pilot program for municipal guards to protect our rec centers, an HVAC upgrade to prevent environmental closures of our libraries, to prioritize staffing with unionized civil service positions over contracted out positions, to protect members in public sector work and the communities they serve from the great threat of ICE, to provide critical funds for the Defenders Association to negotiate fair contracts for their newly organized employees, as well as fulfill the obligations of their standing contracts. This is all happening in an atmosphere of federal cuts to funding that support state and municipal budgets. cuts in research funding for universities and medical facilities that we cover, cuts in arts and culture grants, and the destruction of safeguards for our most vulnerable citizens. The funding you allocate for fiscal year 27 and the 6-year budget will be a direct reflection of the priorities we fight for every day in our organized units. Protections for working people who make this city happen. This past May Day, DC 47, DC 33, it stood alongside labor, immigrant communities, faith-based organizations, and all working people in Philadelphia to secure a vision that supports workers over billionaires. Some of you were there. I hope that this mission stays with you in the decisions you make coming through this budget cycle, and that you will stay with Philadelphians who need your support. I look forward to hearing from some of our union members here today, taking in their lived experience and seeing how we can do this together. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record. Begin.
Hold on, I'm kind of short. I gotta adjust. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Council President, members of City Council, to everyone in attendance, and to the City of Philadelphia. My name is Jamil Mitchell. I currently serve as the Workplace Violence Prevention Coordinator for ASHME, District Council 47. Woo! I am also the staff rep for our supervisors of 2186. I previously worked as a Recreation Leader 3 for Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. I mean, come on, good stuff. Through my years of service, both as a civil servant and as a union advocate now, I have seen passion, compassion, and determination that the City of Philadelphia employees bring to their work every day. These workers show up because they care very deeply about the communities they serve. But I have also witnessed and personally experienced the conditions under which many of them are expected to do that work. Too often, employees are forced to operate in facilities with ongoing HVAC and heating failures, structural issues, and urgent need of repair, poor or inadequate lighting, and a lack of cameras or security staff, to ensure safety. Many sites are chronically understaffed, supplies are limited, and workers are left bartering or improvising just to meet basic needs. These are not just workplace issues, these are public safety concerns. If we are serious about building and maintaining safe, healthy communities, about caring for our most vulnerable residents, then we must fund public services adequately and sustainably. That means investing in the places people rely on for safety, rest, and joy. Our recreation centers, our pools, and libraries. It means ensuring access to vital supports such as food assistance, mental and physical health services, and reliable public transportation. Most importantly, it means investing in the workers who make all of this possible. Funding public services is not an expense, it is a commitment to dignity, safety, and opportunity for everyone in Philadelphia. I urge you to prioritize the funding necessary to protect public workers, strengthen our infrastructure, and ensure our city's services truly serve the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to participate. My name is Catherine Martin. I have worked for the Free Library of Philadelphia for 7 years. I am currently a first-level supervisor at the Nicetown Tioga branch at the busy intersection of Broad, Germantown, and Erie Avenues. Today, we are a staff of 8 library workers and we currently have 3 vacant positions. Our libraries are understaffed. Every day, without fail, I am asked the same 3 questions at work. When did you reopen? I thought this library had closed forever. It's true, we've had our fair share of closures due to building issues. We have abysmal signage and an unwelcoming facade. But come inside and you'll see we are a welcoming space with after-school meals for students, adult literacy classes, chess and crochet clubs, and more. Another question I get is, are you hiring? Thanks to our welcoming interior, I've noticed that Philadelphians are really curious about working in libraries. We see many job seekers at my location, and to this end, we have partnered with the Office of Human Resources North Philadelphia recruitment team to demystify the civil service process and successfully get the word out about all available city jobs. And the third question I'm asked is, do you host computer classes? And this is the question that pains me the most, because we have a fully equipped computer lab with 8 new networked public computers, and yet we have no staff member to run the programs that our community demands. The digital divide in our city is growing. There are initiatives to address it, and the Free Library has been part of these conversations, but we should be on the front lines. In the past, the Free Library had a tech mobile and hosted multiple computer labs across the city. Today, there is only one of these hotspots, and the position is currently vacant. And in 2014, a new job class was created for my union siblings in District Council 33, Local 696, Digital Resource Specialist. Digital Resource Specialists offer formal and informal skills training, they develop customized community programs, and they help to expand access beyond library walls. But today, more than 10 years after the creation of this job, 3/4 of our libraries do not have a digital resource specialist on staff. Many of our libraries do not even have an allocation for this position. Every year I request that the vacant library assistant position at my location be converted to a much-needed digital resource specialist position. And every year I am met with resistance, indifference, or flat-out rejection. I hear, it's just not in the budget. This is not acceptable. Our patrons need digital support, and they are asking for help in acquiring these skills. From simple computer navigation to complex online transactions to resume creation and job application support. And there is a logical in-house solution, one that does not require a strategic development plan or a complex partnership. The solution already exists in plain sight. We can support our communities with their essential technology needs and offer jobs with all the protections and benefits that Philadelphians deserve. Hiring digital resource specialists for every Free Library location is a no-brainer. Thank you.
Please state your name and please begin.
My name is Esther Jones. Good morning, fellow citizens of Philadelphia, members of City Council, and other public testimony participants. My name is Esther Jones, and I am a born and raised resident of the City of Philadelphia, as well as a member and delegate of DC 47, Local 2186. I have been employed for the by the City of Philadelphia for 14 years full-time in the Parks and Recreation Department as of October 1st, 2026. During my years of employment in Parks and Recreation, I have always been a staunch supporter of safety. If you don't feel safe, how can you come to work every day? In my testimony today, I will be talking about things that I believe could use consistent investment to make the rec center safer. I am currently assigned to Furco Playground in the Juniata section of the city. My rec center does not have cameras, and I have been advocating for Furco to get cameras since my first assignment here in 2016. It is 10 years later, and we still do not have cameras. There have been repairs and upgrades to many centers over the past 10 years. There should be specific funding allocated every year until we make sure every rec center has cameras. Our mayor's motto has been safe, clean, and ready to use with regards to the people who utilize our rec centers. But why are we also not thinking about the safety of our facility staff as well? Equal funding into safety and upgrades should be a priority for the city and the department. Municipal guards are currently utilized by the Free Library, but I believe they could be utilized just as well in the Parks and Recreation Department. Having someone be an extra set of eyes outside the playground and just be a visual presence would make a huge impact on the safety of the staff and the program participants. I understand that security would not only be their only job, but even it being 3/4 or 1/2 of their objective would take some of the pressure off of the other staff in the buildings whose focus should be providing programming and safe spaces for our youth. The union has had positive conversations with the working group, including Councilman Phillips, but was discouraged by the fact that no money was allocated for the pilot program for the Rec Center Municipal Guards. I hope to see an adjustment in the budget for this pilot program. My final point of investment would be true emergency response. We have generic trainings on how to respond in an emergency situation when things happen outside of our rec center and inside, but each rec center is set up differently. The department is currently working on emergency action plans that are specific to individual rec centers. I understand that it's been a large undertaking, but I hope that the council continues to follow up with the department to keep the momentum going. In conclusion, I hope the city really thinks about the investment in safety of not only its patrons, but also the staff that keep the city running day in and day out. At the end of the day, our safety matters. We matter.
Thank you. Just please state your name for the record and begin your testimony.
Yes. My name is Brenda Rivas, and I serve as an administrative technician in DHS, Child Welfare Operations, within the Finance Department, Quality Assurance Division, and Provider Verification and Licensure Unit. Good morning, Council President Kenyatta Johnson and distinguished council members. I thank you for the opportunity to speak today about two key operational areas where additional funding is needed. I'm speaking from my perspective. I have been with DHS for 10 years, and I'm proud to have served in this department throughout my career. My role? I work directly every day with provider agencies that serve our youth. These agencies rely on timely and accurate support from me, so they can remain compliant and continue providing services. Excuse me. I maintain ongoing communications with them to ensure all certifications and required documentations remain current. By entering this information accurately into our PFDS system, I help ensure that DHS services receive the correct funding from the state and that the state has accurate data for federal reimbursement. My work prevents errors that could lead to overpayments, underpayments, or compliance findings, and ensures agencies are reimbursed properly and on time. I have personally experienced situations where high volume and staffing shortage made it very challenging for me to meet deadlines efficiently. At one time, after one supervisor retired and 2 clerk 3s promoted out, I alone was doing the work of 3 people for more than 6 months. I stayed committed to doing my best every day because that is what I do, and what I do is important for children and families. For a time there, it was really stressful. Eventually, the decision was made to merge my unit with another. Luckily, I was able to train the 2 staff members in this work that I do, but we are still not at full complement for the unit. The backlog created during the low-level staffing periods remain, and now we have additional federal reporting responsibilities for the first time since COVID. In addition to staffing challenges, our work is slowed by non-functioning copiers and printers. Many days, staff must leave their work areas or go to another floor just a fine working machine. This causes delays, creates unnecessary stress, and disrupts workflow at a time when accuracy and timeliness are critical, especially during state audits, which occur twice a year, like right now. Because federal auditors cannot access our system and require printed files, this becomes an even greater barrier. So in closing, I respectfully request support in two areas. First, sufficient staffing levels to manage our daily workload and significant surges during state audits. Second, reliable, high-capacity computers and copiers and printers that are regularly maintained and able to support the volume of work our department handles. These improvements would significantly strengthen our operations and help us continue providing accurate, timely support to providers and youth we serve. Thank you for your time, your cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Rivas. Always good seeing you too, Ms. Rivas.
Would Greg Waldman, Chris Snyder, Jofis Daffils, Jennifer Reed, Poria Najid, and Dallas Herbert please come to the podium?
Good morning, Council President, members of City Council, and the listening public. My name is Greg Waldman, and I'm a city planner at the Streets Department and a member, steward, and delegate of District Council 47, Local 2187. I'm testifying off the clock as a union member of 10 years and not in my official city capacity. ASNY workers keep Philadelphia running. At Streets, we are committed to ensuring safe and clean streets, something that I know that the Council President and many community members hold as a high priority that is essential to Philadelphia's economy. This involves many kinds of work, from repaving and line striping, traffic signal and bridge design, project management and civil engineering, permitting and ensuring predictable and open use of the public right-of-way. I am here today to bring attention to the issue of civil service vacancies and contracting out of essential city functions. What do these two issues have in common? High vacancies, which are around 20% for the department as a whole, and 11% for DC 47 represented civil service positions at the department, and frequent turnover, increased training costs, overburdened workloads, and result in work being contracted out at a higher cost than could have been done by city forces if vacancies were filled. Issues driving vacancies are salaries well below industry standards, inflexible residency and pre-residency requirements, and of course, Mayor Parker's unnecessary 5-day-a-week work from office mandate. In 2023, the consultant JMT produced a gap analysis for delivering infrastructure projects for the following 5-year capital program. This study found that civil service salaries at Streets Department are well below the industry standards, from 13% below for city planners like me to 30% lower for engineers and almost 50% lower for accountants. Public sector union jobs used to balance out that wage discrepancy with excellent retirement packages, but the shift from a defined benefit plan to a hybrid 401k capped at $65,000 discourages workers from making a career out of their tenure with the city. In addition to making city wages more competitive, JMT recommended that other benefits such as hybrid and flex schedules that allow for work from home and loosening residency and pre-residency requirements would attract and retain staff. Almost 2 years into the in-office mandate, I can confidently say that city workers are mostly meeting virtually over Teams, even when Microsoft Teams, even when they work right next to one another. Our wages have become even less competitive since 2023, with inflation rising faster in the past 4 months than it has in previous years. While wage increases are won at the bargaining table and through the Civil Service Commission, the window of possibilities is dependent on budget investments in personnel and the labor reserve. This budget's investments into the labor reserve, averaging $123 million per year, isn't enough to catch up with the private sector, let alone keep up with inflation. In the end, investments in city workers at streets and in all departments save taxpayers money. Workers who feel adequately paid and treated with dignity stay longer at their city jobs, do them better and more efficiently as they learn intricate details and processes, and eventually apply for promotions to take on more complex responsibilities, training the next generation of public servants. Workers who feel underpaid and underappreciated leave for higher paid jobs in the private sector where they can live outside city limits, possibly in a firm that is then contracted to do a job necessitated by this empty city job they left. Our members at Streets are committed to serving the city of Philadelphia, and I encourage the council to show commitment to the workers by significantly increasing the labor reserve to give municipal unions the tools to negotiate for competitive wages to attract and retain a dignified and committed unionized workforce. I also encourage the council to demand that the CAO publish anonymized annual reports of exit interviews and satisfaction surveys to assess the impact of the return to office mandate as it has had promised before that mandate went into effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Christopher Snyder. Good morning, Council President and members of Philadelphia City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am a social work supervisor at the Philadelphia Department of Prisons and have held this position for the last 10 years. I'm also an executive board member for AFSCME District Council 47, Local 2186. I'm here today to speak regarding the proposed budget for the Philadelphia Department of Prisons on behalf of our members, but also as a social worker and an advocate for the incarcerated population. While we've seen significant reductions in the incarcerated population in Philadelphia, we've seen a significant increase in the needs of those that are still incarcerated. Clients are admitted into the jails with untreated mental health diagnoses, substance abuse challenges, without stable employment or housing, lacking medical coverage, and without appropriate child care or social support. These factors leave our clients at extremely high risk for recidivism. For most of these clients, our city employees are the primary point of contact. We are the case managers, the psychologists, the educators, and the social workers. We connect these clients with resources and provide the necessary services to address these concerns and help the clients remain in the community when they are released. Members of City Council, my request is simple. Instead of committing to ever-increasing contracts with ever-decreasing returns, invest in your municipal workforce. Invest in the employees who live in the neighborhoods that our incarcerated population comes from. Invest in the employees that fund the city budget with our tax dollars. Now, with a $1.2 billion surplus, now is the time to invest in reentry, reduce recidivism, and support the council's goal of making Philadelphia a safer, more secure, more prosperous city for all who live here. Investing in your municipal workforce makes this possible. AFSCME DC 47 is committed to working alongside City Council, the Department of Prisons, our reentry partners, and our community-based services to create a more just criminal justice system which ensures the best outcomes for the people we serve to the benefit of all Philadelphians. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good morning.
Good day, good day. Council President Johnson and esteemed council members. My name is Jennifer Reed. It's Jennifer with a G, Reed, R-E-E-D. I am a licensed social worker and a proud citizen of Philadelphia for 57 years. Okay. Yeah, that's a long time. And a 28-year city servant and a proud president of DC 47 Local 2186. I represent the professional staff who are the architects and engine of this municipality, and let's be clear, the people that make the city run. Today I'm discussing the $1.2 billion surplus the mayor spoke of in her 5-year plan. To an accountant, that's a win. To the members of DC 47, that number is a testament to our sacrifice. This surplus was built on the backs of social workers carrying triple caseloads and librarians working in failing buildings, and it was built by parks and rec staff who act as teachers, security, and babysitters in facilities that wouldn't even pass OSHA inspection, and also prison staffing that's so low it's criminal. This isn't found money. It is withheld investment from the people who keep Philadelphia running. I'm here to address 3 critical points. A surplus cannot exist alongside a staffing crisis. It is a dereliction of duty to sit on $1.2 billion when our departments face vacancies rates that would put a private firm out of business. We are losing our best talent to the private sector because Philadelphia refuses to pay for the expertise it requires, while rising costs of living cripple city employees who have to work 2 jobs just to live in the city. Modernization is a safety issue. My members are expected to deliver 21st century services with 20th century tools. We need a capital plan that replaces failing HVAC systems and updates archaic data systems. And if we don't invest in infrastructure now, this surplus will be swallowed up in the cost of future failings. Let's reject the trap of privatization. We know this play. A surplus could be used to outsource public work to private contractors who lack local commitment or stealing union work with an exorbitant number of exempts who are paid excessive salaries. Privatization is not efficiency, it is a threat. We have the internal capacity, we just need the investment in the people who make this city work. In closing, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are being stretched too thin and paid too little. It's time to invest in the workers who make Philadelphia possible. Thank you for your time.
Good morning to everyone in the room. My name is Dallas Herbert Sr., and I'm gonna go off script here because everybody been talking about the unions and their jobs. But I'm here to talk about the budget for Clean and Green. I'm a member of the grassroots organization 215 People's Alliance. And I'm here today representing the Trash Academy and Clean Philly Now. I'm here to talk money. Money spent, money saved, and money the city of Philadelphia might be wasting. It all has to do with cameras. Are the cameras that already have been installed worth the money spent? And are the cameras to be installed going to make a difference in illegal and legacy dumping? In my neighborhood, Longcrest, we, meaning 215 People's Alliance, began cleaning a legacy dump site we call Snake Road in 2021. We thought a few cameras would go a long way in catching whoever is doing the illegal dumping, and some new signs would deter people. It took 3 years to get 3 cameras, and just as long for the signs. Okay, the cameras were up and running, and the signs were posted, and we had questions. Who's watching the cameras? And how many are watching the films? Crickets. Or no straight answers. I could go on, but let's fast forward to today. We have a new mayor, Sherelle Parker, and a great leader in the Clean and Green Initiative, Carlton Williams. And the things are finally heading in the right direction. There are 400 cameras in the city with 125 more to come. Yet so far, only 17 dumping cases have been closed. And since 2003, only 49 cases have been closed. Now let's talk about the police cameras for a second. They have 7,000 cameras all over the city. And what do they do when they run across illegal dumping? I mean, we know the police don't have time to concentrate on illegal dumping, but I've talked to the commissioner, and he said that the police was going to work harder on it. I talked to the district attorney, and he said he had a group that would be working on it, and we need more transparency in that. How do they handle the information? Are they handling the information? Are the city's cameras effective enough that more money should be spent on them We need more transparency and more investment in education, prevention, and enforcement, not just abatement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have Lois Williams, Shari Hirsch, Stephen Bronskill, Data Sims, Will Gonzalez, and Ruth Conviser.
If your name was called, please come up.
I'm Shari Hirsch from Trash Academy and the Clean Philadelphia Now Coalition. We appreciate clean and green, but we need to shift resources upstream, invest in prevention, make clean and green a legacy beyond politics, one that transforms our city's waste practices, eliminates illegal dumping, and makes incineration and landfilling relics of the past. The city reports a near perfect litter index score, but our experience tells a different story. In 2 events in the last 2 weeks, residents told their stories documenting over 48 legacy dump sites in a single community. Sites like Warren and 52nd, 15th and Wingo-Hocking, Cuyahoga and Gratz, 4200 Park, and many more across the city are dumped on almost daily. They are legacy dump sites. The clean dump cycle continues. The litter score is based on an average. There's no data, no specifics by block, obscuring the ongoing legacy dumping in certain neighborhoods and on certain blocks. In the proposed 2027 budget, prevention receives just 3.8%, down from 7% in 2019, something I just can't wrap my head around. So instead of spending $750,000 on 125 new cameras, redeploy existing cameras and invest in what prevents dumping before it starts. Expand the voucher program being piloted by North 10 Philadelphia for small haulers. Require construction and demolition recycling through the city's home initiative. Pilot recycling and legal disposal options through a dumpster contract with Burns at one convenience center. And train Future Track to support education for recycling and diversion. Invest in prevention, stop dumping before it happens, and save millions of dollars for the city to be spent on all these city workers who need better salaries. Thank you.
My name is Ruth Conviser, and I'm here to ask that the city not pass the Uber and Lyft tax. The reason I'm asking for that is small businesses already just thank you. My apologies. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, better?
Closer.
Have we got it? Okay.
There you go.
Thank you so much for being here, and especially after a bit of a late night last night. Nice to see some of the same faces. I'm here to respectfully ask that the Uber and Lyft tax not be passed. My rationale, my name is Ruth Conviser, my rationale is that we just lost the $100,000 BERT exemption. And that would really hit a certain class of small businesses incredibly hard, and it just feels not right to me to do that. I was also hit with the loss of the BERT exemption as a therapist in private practice, and it was $5,000. And in a year that I took a maternity leave and only worked 9 months, so I have the additional daycare costs and the additional taxes. And I'm not alone in that. I convened a Facebook group that started out with therapists, broadened out to helping professionals, and is now all sorts of small businesses, and the stories are awful. People are digging out of their savings. They are really, really suffering under this task, and the remediations that have been suggested, which are some grants through Commerce, it's not as simple as that. They're not really working. We're respectfully asking for a hearing on Mike Driscoll's bill, 25-1026. If that was able to be passed, if we could rectify what happened to other small businesses, I would then feel that it would be fine to support the Uber and Lyft tax, but not, I can't see taxing this population of small businesses twice. It's just really uncomfortable for me. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. How you doing,
Hello.
ma'am? Hello.
My name is Lois Williams. I'm co-director of Trash Academy, and I'm also a member of Hase Nas. I'm here today about prevention and enforcement of illegal legacy dumping in Philadelphia. But I'm a concerned citizen that is really pissed, okay? Now, the budget for prevention and enforcement is so low that it's just sad. I mean, I looked at that and I said, really? But now what I was thinking is we can do some commercials, put some commercials on the TV saying, okay, we have cameras, we see you, and we will catch you. And this is the how much you would have to pay when we catch you. Not if, but say when we catch you. Put up some billboards. You know, that's part of prevention. If they see that, that could likely make them not do what they're doing. You know, and when you do catch someone, don't negotiate the fine down so daggone low. Because then they feel like, oh, well, it's worth it. I might as well keep doing what I'm doing. You got to make it hurt their pockets for them to stop. You know, take their vehicle, whatever. But the thing is, we have to make this stop. We have had help from some city council people and from numerous organizations like, you know, not city organizations, neighborhood organizations. And we appreciate that. But the thing is, we're tired of this. And if you don't intend to help us, step out of the way and let us through. Simple as that. Move over because we are coming through. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. My name is Will Gonzalez. I'm the executive director of SEBA, Coalition Building Organization in Philadelphia's Latino community. Thank you, City Council, for giving us the opportunity to testify. We are also the backbone to the SEBA Latino Equitable Development Collective. We want to respectfully request that the city continue to offer the free tax preparation for small businesses who are confronting the BERT tax in light of the removal of the exemption. Not casting aspersions, this is a state constitutional issue, also the need for comprehensive tax reform in the city. But in the meantime, the small business environment needs that support of that free tax preparation, and we encourage you to please continue to do that. We also ask you to please support the commercial corridors managers that are doing more work around this issue. They need additional support. I also want to make you aware of one of the issues that the BERT situation has created, and that is that sometimes you see people being treated not as employees but as independent contractors. Now that has more of a nasty bite. And so we encourage you, and we know that also the state at the federal level, to do more looking over those situations, especially when it comes to the summer employment for students. It's not cool that a student doing summer employment is getting a 1099 instead of a W-2. If they get a 1099, they got to pay their employee and employer taxes and BERT, and they're only 16, 17 years old. So please take that in mind. There's a way to avoid that. On home, CDCs, we be there before, during, and after brick and mortar. And it sounds like a broken record, but we encourage you to please, pretty please, make CDCs the epicenter of all your homework. The Latino Equitable Development Collective, with 4 of the best CDCs in the city, has a plan that we shared with our council member in the 7th District. We shared with the Office of Lawrence and Brooks, and our capacity to build and preserve thousands of units in the next 5 years. Look forward to discussing that further with leadership and City Council. Turn the key, increase the subsidy. A rising tide raises all boats. If you bring up the subsidy to 100K, both private developers and nonprofit developers will be increasing affordability for those units. Support the Community Builders Fund, which Council Member Lozada is proposing, that will increase the availability of patient capital for CDCs to build and preserve. Improve the land bank. You're going to be ceding some power to them. You're going to be doing mass transfers or permissions for transfers. Please seek quality, not quantity. The land bank has a strategic plan that it hasn't shared. It has some objectives to improve itself. Let them deliver on those improvements before you cede that much power. You are a legislative body. We believe in the separation of powers. What you're doing is not bad. It's just, it's in our city charter. Last but not least, housing counseling is really important. We're facing a problem with HUD eliminating pre-purchase. So one of our strengths in our city is a housing counseling ecosystem. That's going to be hurt badly at a time when we need it for HOME. Half of the programs need the support of the housing counseling community to connect clients, connect residents with those services. So please support that. Thank you again for these hearings. Thank you again for all you do. Keep being a strong legislative body. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Council President, Council members. My name is Stephen Bronskill. I'm here with Transit Forward Philadelphia, and I'm here to support a budget that keeps Philly moving. I want to bring us back to this time last year. SEPTA released a doomsday budget due to a lack of state funding. It wasn't just a doomsday of the Flyers and the Sixers losing on the same night in the playoffs. It proposed cutting 5 regional rail lines, 50 bus lines, and ending metro service after 9 p.m., no tailgating at the Link, and bus stops were decorated with these signs all across the city. And Philly did not accept this. Tens of thousands of transit riders spoke up to their elected officials. You as a council traveled to Harrisburg, and we saved a transit system that moves 1 in 3 Philadelphians to work, 50,000 students to school, and almost half of Eagles fans on game day. That was your work. The solution wasn't perfect. Cuts were stopped, but we lost capital funds that keep our trains safe and in service. We saw that with regional rail fires. Councilmember Gautier saw that when our trolleys were diverted in West Philly and spoke up. And this was a direct consequence of our state legislature's failure to take action. We also saw a 21% increase in the fares to ride SEPTA, but not a 21% increase in our wages. And so this city budget is our response to what happened last year in Harrisburg. It's our game 2 after being blown out in the series opener. And you should never underestimate a Philly sports team or Philadelphians protecting something we care about. The mayor's proposed investment in Zero Fare is a step forward to making transit more affordable for over 60,000 people who need it most. There was a study in New York that said our program is twice as good, a Sixer score we can believe in. 63% of Philadelphians use it versus 30% of New Yorkers. It's because people don't have to wait in line or on the phone to access it. And so council should approve this investment in Zero Fare. They should make it permanent through a transit access fund. They should make sure students have a ride to school. They should make sure CCP students have passes, that the people who work at DC 33 and 47 have a ride to work to keep Philly moving. I'll close and say, as a transit rider, sometimes there's a long wait at the bus stop. We are here in this journey with you. We are going to fight together to make sure these cuts don't come back in 500 days. We're going to fight to pass this and investments in transit moving forward. We'll see you on the bus. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is David Sims. Good morning, City Council President Kenyatta Johnson and members of City Council. I ask that you vote yes on the ride share tax. We, as Philadelphians, have become chronic, constant complainers. We complain when our elected officials do their jobs, and we complain and say elected officials don't do their job. We bash them on social media and a lot of times don't understand all of the city council and the mayor that has to be done to keep our city operating, running, and clean. The transportation network company tax is needed to help save the jobs of our school district personnel. Uber and Lyft is mostly a luxury item and is most used by business people. A recent study showed that Philadelphia has a high volume of Uber riders with over 120 riders per day. Recent data also showed that in Philadelphia, Uber rideshare profits in the last quarter of 2025 were up 50%. Our residents don't want the rideshare tax, but I asked my fellow Philadelphians, would you rather property taxes go up? I would not. There are more homes in Philadelphia than there are daily ride shares, and I would rather tax the large companies that are raking in record profits that have to have the residents of Philadelphia than to get a property tax increase. Why would we not go with the people in our city that are fighting to make Philadelphia a better place? Why would we side with the greedy corporate giants that are raking in record profits? Why would we not support our mayor, who is doing everything she can to help our city thrive and push our city forward? The top 10 cities in America had tax increases in the last 5 years. New York had corporate tax increases, Los Angeles property tax 3.7%, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio had property tax increases. Jacksonville had over 50% tax increases since the year 2020, and Chicago sales tax just hit 10.5%. In Philadelphia, we have to keep up. We're the fourth largest city, and at one time, we're the sixth largest city, and at one time, we were the fourth. We already know that we are severely underfunded by Harrisburg. We need that money for our schools. We need the revenue for hardworking principals, teachers, NTAs, school police, nurses, and anyone else who is pouring into our children's lives every day. I don't want to see a teacher laid off if possible. Our children are our future, and they deserve us as Philadelphians to do everything we can to help them grow, thrive, and achieve. So as a business owner in the city of Philadelphia, I know and understand the work that each of you put in on a daily basis. Most people don't understand the job that you all do is hard work, long hours, and sometimes thankless. I want to end with saying thank you for your love for Philadelphia, for your love for our children, our streets, and the work that you do. In closing, I am asking that you vote yes on the Transportation Network Company Tax Bill number 260208. Thank you for your time.
Can we please have Rick Savage?
Can I do the ground rules again, y'all? We want to be respectful during public comment if you support an issue, or you can oppose the issue, but just let everybody go to the microphone, say their piece, and let's show a little love today. Chair recognizes Councilman Dr. Anthony Phillips.
I just want to thank the last person who testified for acknowledging something that is really important. All of us on City Council at some point have done something relatively decent or good consistently, for our neighborhood. And then the moment that something is often not done, may not be done right away, it's like, oh my gosh, you're not doing this. And then you just forget so quickly that we're working on every single type issue. So I want to thank David Sims for understanding how long it's taking for all of us to really get through stuff, and just want to say I appreciate you for acknowledging the steps we're trying to do to address a lot of issues. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Phillips. Ms. Lawhead, could you please call the next panel, please?
Wick Savage, Carlos Booth, Christine Lederer, Nicole Kligerman, Christy Davis. You please make your way to the podium.
Good morning. My name is Christine Lederer, and I'm with the ARC of Philadelphia, where we advocate for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Firstly, we support the suggestion of an $18 million emergency fund for Medicaid recipients that has been proposed by the community. For Philadelphians with disabilities who rely on Medicaid as their primary insurer, this fund isn't just a safety net, it is a guarantee that their daily support systems will not vanish. For people with intellectual disabilities and physical disabilities, Medicaid is much more than health insurance. It is the payer for home and community-based services, including home health aides and residential support. We ask City Council to consider the creation of this emergency fund and directing some funds towards home and community-based services for people with disabilities. The ARC of Philadelphia strongly supports the appointment of the new Medicaid consultant to navigate upcoming shifts in the system that was discussed in the DBH-IDS budget hearing. As an organization with expertise in home and community-based services, we can provide support as an external partner to ensure that communities with IDD maintain their Medicaid disability services. Lastly, we would like to see an investment in a stronger communication channel between disability service providers, DBH-IDS, and our county assistance office. Given the SNAP and Medicaid changes, the CAO is processing an unprecedented amount of paperwork, naturally limiting their ability to communicate issues to the providers and the public. A simple communication breakdown with the CEO or a missed renewal form can result in a Philadelphia losing their services immediately. It takes months, if not years, to get back on these services. We need stronger communication channels and transparency. The time to strengthen these processes is now, before the CEO is inundated with even more paperwork. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Nicole Kligerman. I work at the National Domestic Workers Alliance, where we organize nannies, house cleaners, and caregivers. And I want to really acknowledge this extremely full room of working people who have taken off work and time to be here, because Mayor Parker's budget fails all of us. I want to really thank this body for the leadership that you have demonstrated over the years to working people through the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights, the Power Act, the ICE Out legislative package, and Safe Healthy Homes just a couple of years ago. And acknowledge also that Philadelphia loves an unfunded mandate, and Mayor Parker's budget underfunds the incredibly important legislation that you have all passed. Domestic workers are prohibited because of the legacy of enslavement in this country from unionization. The Office of Worker Protections, which is flat funded for the third year in a row, is the only place where 750,000 working Philadelphians can have their hard fought and in support of everybody here, I know, that those rights are enacted. And with the absolute crisis of deportation that we see going on in this country now, the role of the Office of Worker Protections is even more important. With the Power Act that you passed last year, continuing to flat fund the Office of Worker Protections is tantamount to a cut. And in this budget that's ostensibly one of economic mobility, that absolutely does not make any sense. Further, just want to point out that in Mayor Parker's 2.5 years as our mayor, there has been a deputy mayor for labor for only a couple of months. That position has been left unfilled for a year, and that person who was in that role was there for only 3 months. So if we want to be a city that promotes working people, if we want a budget that is for economic mobility, we need to be fully invested in the Office of Worker Protections, and we also need leadership as in the Deputy Mayor for Labor. And I look forward to following up with you all on that. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm up. All right. Good morning, City Council and residents in Philadelphia. My name is Carlos Seabooth Sr., a neighborhood restoration tenant residing in District 3 and a spokesperson for 1PA. Today, we the residents and the members of 1PA stand before you seeking help with a humongous undertaking. Help keep affordable homes in existence. The low-income housing tax credit for many neighborhood restoration projects are expiring. These credits were issued many years ago, but they're coming due now and throughout the next few years up to 2037. Some are, as I mentioned, are already expiring, with more set to expire. With the expiration of these contracts, properties can be bought and sold, and renters being displaced as early as July of 2026. These possibilities do exist. We need your help. We can't do it by ourselves. We don't have the backing but ourselves to keep coming before you in the city of Philadelphia to help us undertake this humongous task. Help us to keep Philadelphia affordable. The seniors and the elders, and there's a delineation of the two. Seniors are like myself, people within the 70s up to 80s, and then we have the elders who are 80 and 90s. I know many of them because I live in the senior building. They need help. They're being quiet because they don't care anymore. These particular people, these seniors, these elders, a lot of them just say, when my time comes, I'll die, I'll live here, I'll die, they can bury me, I don't care anymore. We need to care about them. They paid their dues. Help them to live out the last days of their lives comfortably and not worry about, I might not have a place to live. That's wrong. In closing, because I see the red lights are going on, I have many things I want to say and many things that are in my heart to say. But in closing, I'll be considerate of what's being put before me are the red lights. We need help. We stand before you today as a group, 1PA, as residents of Philadelphia, advocates for the seniors, advocates for the elder. Help us to keep city of Philadelphia affordable and not give in to the pressures and the money from the developers. Thank you.
Rich Rising, everyone. My name is Frederica Lightford. Time is running out for the tenants who reside in neighborhood restorations, including myself. The 925 units owned by Jim Levine announced last year that he wants to sell the properties. Let's take a moment and remember the mass displacement in 2017, when close to 240 residents of Penguin Apartments located in West Philadelphia were forced to move out following the sale of the building. We can't forget Pentown, a 70-unit affordable housing complex at 39th and Market. These residents, predominantly Black working-class families, became displaced in 2023 when the owner decided not to renew a federal housing contract. I've experienced displacement several times, and it initiates intense and emotional feelings of despair. The ongoing pandemic is widespread and increases housing instability at a phenomenal rate. Preserving these affordable units are essential, and to many developers, it may be seen means of improving vulnerable neighborhoods. In retrospect, it's not a real remedy because the goal for them is to attract further investments, increasing rental prices and property taxes for homeowners. As a resident of this city for more than half a century, I'm asking you to be remembered as a party of people who can help safeguard the residents by including money in the budget to purchase neighborhood restorations. Thank you.
Say your name, please begin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Christy Davis. I live in West Philly. I am also a tenant of Neighborhood Restoration, as you guys just heard. They have over 925 units that is up for sale. I have lived in my unit for 21 years. 21 years. I was told when moving in, that if I stayed for a certain amount of years, that I would be able to purchase my home. Okay, that was it. I'm also a mother of 3, my youngest being 21. I have 8 grandchildren. My mom's house is where it all goes down. Holidays, birthdays, you name it, it's my house. I would like to stay in my house. I would like to purchase my house. And I'm asking for the city to purchase these homes. This would be very, very, very beneficial for everybody. Not only people from Project Restorations, as well as the Local 33 and others that would like to come in and purchase their home for low market value. Okay? So again, we're asking for the city to purchase these homes. It's over, and not only that, it will be over 3,000 people that will be displaced. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? So again, we're asking for the city and you guys, and thanks for hearing us out, to purchase these homes. I want to thank 1PA. I also want to thank Ms. Gunther for helping us along the way. Again, we need help, and we're asking for you guys to come in. Show some love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have Hannah Hawthorne, Salima McNeil, Julio Rodriguez, Max Ray Ryak, Nada Mays, Madeline John, and Frank Servone. Please make your way to the podium.
That's a pretty baby.
Thank you. I would say she's my best work, but I have 2. Thank you for welcoming her.
Just,
Did they say who's going first?
just
Oh, I am. Do you want me to start?
yeah, sure.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Netta Mays. I'm honored to be here. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. My first time taking part in something like this. I'm here as a Philadelphia community member, as well as a small business owner. And I have to say, at this point in time, I disagree with the Uber-Lyft tax. And let me explain why. I'm always a proponent of social services. I actually am of the mindset that teachers should not be paid less than 6 figures, entry level. But I, as a small business owner, I'm a registered dietitian. I specialize in culturally inclusive nutrition. And I came to, actually was born in Philadelphia, but I came here strategically to start my business because I knew my community here could benefit from the services I provide. But I can't afford to live here. I'm gonna be honest, me and my family are getting desperate with the BIRT tax. As someone who's self-employed, I did not get any maternity leave here in Pennsylvania. My best friend, she's an RD, registered dietitian in New Jersey. She got her 6 months. But I was proud because last year I actually made my best profit. And I was proud that I could put aside my savings to support myself and my family through my maternity leave. And I could do it without being on social services or have outside need. But once I got that BIRT tax, I expected my taxes to be between $10,000 and $20,000. My tax was $30,000. And $10,000 of that went to the city because the city wants this year and they want next year up front. I want to be compliant. I have 2 kids. I can't go to prison right now. Different time, different day, but not this year. So I love living here. I love being part of my community. You'll catch me outside in the neighborhood park cleaning up. I want to give back. I want to volunteer, but I can't afford to live here. Literally, we are meeting with tax professionals to kind of see what do we have to do to keep things afloat. All of my bank accounts are below the threshold right now. I'm paying bank fees because I am not at the minimum threshold that I need to be to not have to have those. I am moving money around trying to keep everything afloat. My husband is also diving into his savings to pay that tax. I know other small business owners are taking out their HELOC loans to pay the tax. Please, I want to be here, and we, as Philadelphia, we need the diversity of these small businesses. I live in Port Richmond. I don't know if you've ever been on Richmond Street. It's beautiful. They want businesses to be there, but small businesses are not going to be able to afford to come to this city. And I know through personal conversations, a lot of people are leaving the city or closing their businesses just based off this year. So please, give us some relief. I want to pay my taxes to the city. These are our treasures. I want to put my kids in public school. I want to see schools thriving. I want to see social services thriving. I want to see less homelessness. I want to see my senior citizens taken care of. And I actually want to be a part of that fight. But I can't afford to do it, and I can't afford to lose my home with this. So with the BIRT and the Uber Lyft, I feel like us small families, we're being squeezed to a place that isn't necessary, and we don't need to be squeezed. I don't think that the Uber and Lyft companies are going to absorb the fees, unfortunately. I do think it's gonna come down to the drivers. I do think it's gonna come down to us as patrons. And I live near near Port Richmond. One last thing, we have all of the stores over there. I can't tell you how many times I see women in my scenario pushing strollers on 100-degree days, not a single tree over there, which is another issue. And where they should be able to afford Uber or Lyft, these are the people who are gonna suffer. I don't wanna see a dead baby in the hospital because of heat stroke because they couldn't afford that Uber or Lyft tax.
Thank you.
And this is Selma.
Oh, that's Selma. I'm Salima. Look at this, a line. That's so great.
Beautiful piece, right?
Yes. Good day, council members. My name is Salima McNeil, and I'm the founder and executive director of Oshun Family Center. For the past 8 years, we have stood on the front lines of Philadelphia's maternal mental health crisis, providing therapy, doula care, lactation support, advocacy, and healing spaces for families too often overlooked by traditional systems. Today, I am asking this council to invest in a different future. Our permanent home on Frankfort Avenue in Kensington, located in District 6, will become the Maternal Wellness Center, an innovative community-rooted hub designed to support mothers, babies, fathers, and families across Philadelphia before they reach the breaking point. I want to acknowledge Council Member Mike Driscoll and the opportunity for District 6 to lead the way in redefining what maternal health care and prevention can look like in our city. Because right now, too many families are falling through the cracks. Just weeks ago, Philadelphia was devastated by the tragic death of a newborn involving a teenage mother in Northern Liberties. The story is heartbreaking, but it is also a warning. Untreated mental health needs, fear, trauma, isolation, and lack of support are still shaping outcomes for our families every single day. We cannot continue to build systems that only respond after tragedy. Last year alone, Oshun Family Center provided over 1,300 therapy sessions to over 160 individuals, not counting the families and couples that we served as well. Through Black Maternal Health Week, which is April 11th through the 17th, we mobilized hundreds of Philadelphians more through direct service, education, and advocacy. With Medicaid credentialing now secured and expansion underway, we are preparing to serve even more families in a deeper, more sustainable way. This center will create jobs, expand access to culturally responsive mental health care, doula and lactation services, workforce development, and holistic family wellness under one roof. Today, we are requesting a small but mighty $1 million capital investment because Philadelphia families deserve more than survival. They deserve care, prevention, dignity, and a system built to help them thrive before crisis occurs. Reproductive care across the spectrum is health care. My name is Salima McNeil, and I'm the founder and executive director of Oshun Family Center. Thank you.
Madeline Johns. I am here with Transit Forward Philadelphia advocating that the package and delivery tax be in the city budget to fund SEPTA Zero Fare and student fares. From the discussions I have held with stakeholders who are affected by these services, I have learned about the geographic and financial challenges the current SEPTA student fare program poses for many students and their families. The current SEPTA student fare program limits student mobility and places financial burden on student families to transport their children to opportunities around Philadelphia. Middle and high school students in Philly deserve the freedom of mobility and access to opportunities that will help build their futures. Unfortunately, the current SEPTA student fare program does not go far enough. Students who live less than 1.5 miles from their school and who have jobs after school, enrichment activities on the weekend, or programs over the summer are unable to use their SEPTA passes to reach them. I've spoken with a student who is not even eligible for the student fare program because he lives 1.4 miles from his school. He mentioned that he typically bikes to school, but in the winter it's too cold to bike, even if the bike lanes are plowed. Think about having to walk or bike 1.4 miles to school during a Philadelphia winter. This pass is not supporting the student mobility or academic success. I have also spoken with a student who was required by her high school to complete volunteer hours to graduate. She's only available to complete these hours on the weekend, and since her student fare pass does not work on the weekends, she must pay her fare to travel to complete this graduation requirement. I've spoken with students who do not have faith in the current public transportation system that Philadelphia offers, but have said that having increased access to affordable transportation through an expanded SEPTA student fare program would increase their confidence in Philadelphia's public transportation system. Expanding the current SEPTA student fare program has the potential to turn Philadelphia students into lifelong public transportation riders. DC, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and Seattle all have universal student fare systems in place for their students. We are asking you to consider expanding the current SEPTA student fare program in the city budget with the package delivery taxes so that middle and high school students in Philadelphia can also utilize affordable public transportation to access growth opportunities around their city. Thank you for your time and attention.
My name is Max Ray Reek. Good morning. Thank you for listening to my testimony. I'm a member of the Philly Homeless Union. For over 4 years, we've been documenting conditions in shelters and safe havens in Philadelphia. Through our experience and research, we have come to the conclusion that shelters are not an effective long-term solution to homelessness. We are encouraging council to approve the hotel tax and expanded budget for OHS on the condition that OHS invest in permanent housing, not expanding the shelter system. We're asking that OHS also establish safe sleeping areas for people to whom indoor shelter is not accessible, to establish a paid advisory board of people who are or were recently homeless with real decision-making power and whose members do not work for OHS, DBHIDS, or shelter providers in other capacities, and to establish a property receipt system holding people's property in an easily accessible location when it's removed by city workers or private property owners. We believe shelters are not a long-term solution because congregate housing is more dangerous, with most shelter residents reporting they fear for their safety due to conflicts between residents, mistreatment by staff, theft, and unsafe physical conditions such as falling bricks, lack of fire exit plans, lack of soap and other hygiene supplies, etc. In addition, most shelter residents report they're not able to meet with a case manager in a timely fashion and get assistance applying for housing they may be eligible for or finding a landlord who will work with them. Many people are staying in our shelter system or bouncing between shelter and the streets for years at a time. Given that shelter beds cost over $1,600 per person per month, on average we're wasting people's time and money warehousing people in unsafe shelters rather than helping people pay rent on their own place. Thank you.
I'm up here for Julio Rodriguez, but my name is Narita Pugh. Julio is with the Bicycle Coalition. I'm here with the Bicycle Coalition, Transit Forward, Families for Safe Streets, and Vision Zero for Philadelphia. I am a parent who commutes on SEPTA. I do drive, and I'm also a professional pedestrian. My kids use public transit, grandkids, my family bikes as well. I want to make sure that everybody, my family included, is able to make it home safely every night. As an active member of Families for Safe Streets, it's important to look towards progress in our infrastructure in this beautiful city that we live in. We want to ensure that we're looking out for all of our fellow citizens. Every resident here, everybody's important. I've heard that earlier today, we all do matter. I encourage the city to keep investing in all of us. My ask here today specifically is for an increase in the budget for the fiscal 27 year for Vision Zero specifically. I'm asking for an increase in an additional $2 million. I know we've already been allocated to $5 million, which is grass, very much appreciated. We do need more. We have a lot of things that we still have to work on. Just a quick aside, I lost my son, who was a bike rider, to a hit-and-run tow truck driver. I don't want to see that happen to anybody else's family members. If you don't care about other people's family, care about yourself. I don't want to see it happen to any of y'all. I want everybody to come outside every day, get back in the door every day, not keep worrying about, is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? Did they make it? We know people are driving crazy, recklessly, selfishly. So just asking for the ways that we can try to educate by talking about Vision Zero, talking about slowing down, putting these things in to change the infrastructure of our city, new road diets. The bike lanes, they are critical. They're everywhere now. Not everywhere, but there are a lot of places. We do need some concrete ones. The little plastic ones, great to see them. You ride past them, they're on the ground. They're on the ground, that means somebody's on the ground.
Thank you.
That's it. So just trying to get that funding. Thank you.
We also have Janine Stewart, Dr. Karen Belding, Stan Horwitz, Susan Hagner, Hope Primus, and Nina Gates. Please come to the podium.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of council. Good to see you today. I'm Frank Servone, appearing today on behalf of the Civil Gideon Task Force of the Philadelphia Bar Association and the thousands of men and women, fathers and mothers and their kids, who are served by the Family Court Help Center. Thousands of Philadelphians come to Family Court each year without a lawyer. It's among the most scary and complex and challenging moments in their lives. Parents and caregivers must navigate custody and domestic violence cases alone, often in high-stakes, unsafe, emotional situations. Complex forms and procedures create delays, rejected filings, and real risks for children and families. The solution is the Help Center. The Philadelphia Family Court Help Center is a collaborative legal help system between Family Court of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Legal Assistance, and the Women Against Abuse that provides free, on-site legal guidance to thousands of self-represented litigants in custody and dedicated domestic abuse advocacy in the DV filing unit. The center is located in the Family Court building. Family Court donates the time, the computer system, maintenance. It's a wonderful partnership. These agencies provide staff attorneys and paralegals to oversee the volunteers and to interact directly with the litigants. There's a line every day that the place is open. This is one of the most in-demand operations in the city, and it comes at no cost to those litigants. The center and its host organizations need dedicated city funding to maintain and expand these vital services. In 2024, 2,466 families were served in custody matters, and over 1,500 survivors were assisted in PFA cases. Dedicated and experienced advocates, lawyers, law students, paralegals assist with critical legal matters while screening for domestic violence. They reduce the number of rejected filings, they increase customer satisfaction, they get the job done for these families so they can get on with their lives. Federal funding ran this place for about 10 years, but that funding went away not by virtue of the Trump administration or anybody else, but just by the passage of time. And now PLA and Women Against Abuse need your help to keep it going. We'd appreciate your support. It's not a big ask. It's a tremendous leverage of volunteer services. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to come over, we've been in touch with all of your staff. If you'd like to come for a tour, we'd love to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. State your name for the record, please begin.
Hi, I'm Janine Stewart, a licensed clinical social worker in private practice in Center City. Do I begin? Okay.
Please begin your testimony.
Okay, thank you. I came to Philly for graduate school and stayed because I fell in love with Philly and its people and wanted to help the people in the city. I still want to do that, but it's become very challenging to see my future here due to the city's approach to meeting its funding needs. Regressive taxes such as the rideshare tax and the bird exemption removal are a huge problem in the funding approach to this budget. I implore you, please listen to the citizens of this city, begging you to put the burden of funding on those who are equipped to pay it, the corporations and the wealthy. Due to the removal of the exemption on the first $100K in earnings on the BERT, my total tax bill was $8,000 more than anticipated this year, and a 60% increase in my city taxes over last year. There was no warning, leaving me and 1099 workers across the city scrambling to come up with thousands of dollars for this new tax at the last minute. It is absolutely crushing and absurd. As a result, I'm looking at moving my practice outside of Philly, and I have a tour of an office in the suburbs scheduled for today. So do many therapists across the city. Hundreds of them have joined the Facebook group Clinicians for BERT Reform. Now that much of therapy is online, therapists in Philly who are licensed by the state, not the city, can truly move their practices anywhere and still continue serving their existing clients via telehealth. Many have already spoken up with plans to leave. For so many, the BERT tax is the last straw in a city where taxes to 1099s were already much higher than surrounding areas, not to mention so much higher than cities across the nation. Regressive tax measures are also impacting my clients who already struggle with symptoms of PTSD, including crippling anxiety and depression. They feel demoralized by the decisions of our leaders, from the president to the CEOs to our state and local leaders, which often indicate that those in power aren't willing to address the crucial issue of our day, the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. The people who pull Philadelphians out of depression, anxiety, and the crippling impacts of trauma must not be taxed out of their homes, nor must the food truck workers or the Uber and Lyft drivers who make every day run more smoothly for the people of this city, or the countless members of the gigantic gig economy, all of whom are now required to suddenly give up 6% of their income to the city, not to mention that with the prepay requirement, that increase this year is 12%. That's absolutely devastating blow to the city's workforce, and it will not be able to come back from it. You will lose the tax base that you have. I urge you to hold a hearing on Council Members Driscoll's bill number 251026 and pass it. This adjusts the impact of the BERT changes so that sole proprietors and single-owner LLCs get some relief. At the mayor's meeting last week, a Philadelphia citizen... Okay, I'll wind it up. There was a capital gains tax proposal that would fund millions of dollars in the city's budget by simply shaving a fraction of a percentage of capital gains off the wealthy. We need measures like this, a small percentage increase to the wealthy, not a tax that gouges income of 1099 workers struggling to make ends meet. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
State your name for the record, please begin.
My name is Dr. Karen Esselson Belding. I'm a clinical psychologist. I have had a solo psychotherapy practice in Philadelphia since becoming licensed in 1990. At 65, I feel lucky to be in a profession that I love, that allows me to continue to working as long as I'm able. Until this year, I planned to continue to see patients for the indefinite future. I am very pleased to see that Mayor Parker is looking for creative ways to fund the Philadelphia school system. A strong public school system will be critical for helping to move our city forward, and it is what the children and families of Philadelphia deserve. I do not believe, however, that placing a burden on folks who use Lyft or Uber, folks in the gig economy who drive for these services, is the way forward, and I'm also here to talk today about other tax burdens that are unreasonable. Like so many solo practitioners and other small business owners, I have been greatly impacted by the changes to the BIRT. As a result of the removal of the ability to deduct the first $100,000 of income, my city taxes have skyrocketed. Last year, I paid just over 4% of my business income to the city. This year, it is well over 6%. Last year, my BIRT was $1,213. This year I paid $14,774. I recognize, by the way, that I have privilege. I am a person who has an advanced degree, who has been working in my field since 28, and it is a privilege to be able to pay taxes, but it is not a privilege to give up all of my income to the city. My BIRT burden for this year alone increased by $5,413. This regressive tax measure is going to have chilling effects. The young professionals, and I counsel many of them, are simply going to move their businesses outside of the city rather than continue to pay these taxes. Older professionals like me will close our businesses early. Those who are able to offer a sliding fee scale and serve patients with lesser means will no longer be able to do so. You need to incentivize practitioners to stay in the city. Because of the advent of telehealth, we no longer need to be in town to see our patients. I can personally see patients in 43 states currently due to the interjurisdictional contract. Why would I keep my business in Philadelphia? I love Philadelphia. I've raised my family here. I've lived here since I was 23 years old. Please consider Councilperson Driscoll's bill, which will adjust the BIRT changes so that sole proprietors and single owner LLCs get some relief. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Suzanne Hagner, and I'm a member of Families for Safe Streets, the Bicycle Coalition, Philly Bike Action, and a neighborhood advocate for safe streets. I'm asking for the Vision Zero budget, particularly the streets budget, to be increased by more. I know, $2 million, I don't think that's enough. And I'll tell you why. I moved back to Philadelphia 14 years ago, and I lived in Wissahickon neighborhood, which is right off of Henry Avenue. In the first couple of years, 4 people were killed from traffic violence there. And there was very, very little attention given. But I met with the streets engineer, who then introduced me to the PennDOT engineer, and that section of Henry Avenue, which was the most dangerous, the most fatal accidents, has now been completely restructured. We have new traffic lights, we have red light cameras, we have an elevated multi-use trail that goes along that section for bicyclists, runners, walkers. And we have not had anyone hit or injured or killed there. I want to focus on, I know that we are not meeting Vision Zero. I read the report, and we are still having 3 to 4 children a week hit on our city streets. And so speed cushions are not doing it. And we have an epidemic of hit and run drivers who are hitting people and killing them. The numbers of people killed on our streets has not gone down from hit and run drivers. We have a petition going with Philadelphia Bike Action for West Market Street, where there have been so many deaths. And I just want to point out, because I was so affected by this, that last November, 2 women, both employed, were killed by hit-and-run drivers on Market Street at 36th and 33rd. One woman was going to work. She was in the pedestrian crosswalk when she was hit by a speeding driver who ran the red light and took off. The other woman was also at work, but she had gone out to get something to eat when she was hit in a pedestrian crosswalk.
Let her wrap up. It's okay.
Okay, I will. I'm just asking for the Vision Zero budget to be really increased so we can have structural improvements. Okay.
Hey, Stan.
Hi, greetings. My name is Stan Horwitz. I reside in Fairmount, which is City Council District 5. I'm a wayward bicycle commuter and here with the Bicycle Coalition to request significantly increased Vision Zero funding in the operating budget bill 260199. Investing in Vision Zero is investing in Philadelphians. Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution guarantees all Pennsylvanians the right to clean air, water, and land. City Hall needs to stop favoring automobile-centric policies because automobile exhaust is a significant contributor to death and suffering of Philadelphians. Philadelphians who die on Philly's roads don't pay taxes, don't generate economic activity, and they don't even vote. If Mayor Parker's rideshare tax is passed, more Philadelphians will travel via bicycle, thus making safe streets an even higher priority. Philly is far from where it needs to be in implementing Vision Zero. As I pointed out to Council President Johnson in Hoboken last October, making Philly's roads safer for pedestrians and bicycle riders also benefits motorists and enhances equity in how our city's roads are utilized. Vision Zero addresses climate change, enhances Philly's climate resilience, and prevents road deaths and injuries such as State Rep. Malcolm Kenyatta's husband, Dr. Matthew Kenyatta, who was seriously injured by a motorist last week while he was biking home from work at Temple University. For these reasons, I ask everyone on City Council to reduce road injuries and deaths and live up to Pennsylvania's Constitution by fully funding Vision Zero to the greatest extent possible. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nwena Kai Gates, and I am representing the Community College of Philadelphia, as well as I'm a proud member of AFT 2026, our faculty and staff union at CCP. At CCP, I teach in the English and Black Studies departments. I teach courses like research paper writing, public speaking, African literature, African American literature, and a contemporary Black cinema course. I've been teaching there for about 14 years. During my time there, I've participated in fellowships, published in literary journals, and I've continued to grow as an educator and a scholar. And like so many of my colleagues there, I bring all of these experiences back into the classroom. Our students at CCP are learning from people deeply committed to their craft and to this city, but they can only receive that as long as there is sustained investment in their education. I'm also a mother to a public school student at Henry Houston Elementary School in West Mount Airy, so I stand before you not only as an educator, but as a concerned parent invested in the future of Philadelphia's public education system from kindergarten through college. So you've heard a lot about me, but let me tell you about my students. My students are formerly incarcerated individuals working to rebuild their lives. My students are navigating addiction and emailing me to tell me that they're taking a day off, not to give up, but to celebrate their sobriety. My students are survivors of gun violence. Some have lost limbs. Some are elderly, returning to school to prove to themselves and to their grandchildren that it's never too late. Our students are first-generation Americans. They speak multiple languages. They are raising children, building businesses, caring for sick parents, and supporting families with children who have special needs. And they still show up. Sometimes they are late because the bus didn't come. Sometimes they fall asleep in class, not from lack of care, but from exhaustion and hunger. They are resilient, determined, and deeply deserving of opportunity. I've had the privilege of taking students outside of the classroom. I have traveled with students to Alabama for a civil rights trip. I have traveled with students to Ghana, West Africa for the first time, experiencing the African continent in ways that have transformed how they see themselves and the world. These are the kinds of life-changing experiences that investment makes possible. When you invest in CCP and in the School District of Philadelphia, you are investing in people with real challenges and real potential. When you don't invest, the consequences are just as real. It leads to overworked, burnt out faculty and staff. And let's be honest, Philadelphia finds money when it wants to. we find money for stadiums, large-scale housing and business developments, and for global events. So the question isn't whether the resources exist. The question is, what do we value beyond the cameras? If we value our students, if we value our future, then we must continue to invest in institutions like CCP and the School District of Philadelphia. Thank you.
How you doing? State your name for the record and please begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President and committee members. My name is Hope Primus. I am a resident of the 8th District. I am testifying today on the FY 2027 budget, specifically regarding the financial stability of our city's loan funds and the foundational Black Americans they serve. We face a capital crisis. Treasury is proposing a $204 million cut on the CDFI fund and new rules that disqualify LIHEAP and school lunch enrollment as low-income proof. For example, the Philadelphia Accelerator Fund turned $6 million in loans into $55 million in development and 163 homes. Under the new rules, non-compliance could trigger a recapture of past awards, literally demanding back money already spent on those 163 units. This funding cliff will hit foundational Black Americans first and hardest. Mayor Parker's budget proposes a $91 million federal funding reserve. My questions for the council are, 1, will a portion of the $91 million be earmarked as a local bridge fund for lenders who lose federal status due to these new Treasury rules? And secondly, how will the Economic Mobility Cabinet ensure foundational Black Americans do not lose access to essential credit and counseling during the shift? In conclusion, Philadelphia cannot achieve one Philly if our foundational Black American neighborhood's financial backbone is dismantled. I urge the council to ensure that the final versions of bills number 260-200, 260-201, and 260-202 include explicit safeguards for our local financial infrastructure, especially for FBAs. I also have a fax that I will give to the Sergeant of Arms to give more information, as well as some response or solutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Candace Davis, Gabe Carrion, Annette Randolph, Nikki Grant, Naval Petrie, Miles Owen, Patricia Green, and Lorraine Mobley. Please come to the podium.
How you doing? State your name for the record and please begin your testimony.
Yes. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, council members. Thank you for listening to my testimony. Please bear with me, it's my very first time. My name is Candace Davis, and I'm a disability advocate, an Overbrook resident, and a consumer of Liberty Resources Incorporated. I'm testifying today as a part of the Philadelphia Coalition for Affordable Communities. I've been a resident of Philadelphia for 11 years, and I acquired my disability that you see today due to complications from COVID-19. My new reality changed everything. Since acquiring my disability, my brother and I have had to move not once, but twice, because access is still treated like a luxury, and affordability feels more like a myth. Even now, in Overbrook, I'm still navigating spaces that were never built with me in mind. My rent is 3 times my income. I'll allow that to sink in. I live with my brother, without whom I wouldn't have a place to live because the system was never designed for me to survive it alone. I've been on the PHA public housing list for 4 years of waiting, hoping, and being told not yet. My story is not unique, and that's what makes this difficult. I live in Council District 4, where 30% of us are disabled, just like me. So when I say this is bigger than me, I mean that. This is why we're calling for City Council to invest $15 million in adaptive modification program and $140 million in rental housing production and preservation, $80 million in basic systems repair, and $6 million in shallow rent programs, and $45 million in the eviction diversion rent payments. I'm trying to live in a city that has continued to ask more of its residents, but has yet to make people with disabilities a priority. However, we're still here advocating for housing access for all, because access is not a privilege, and affordable accessibility housing is not a luxury. It's a human right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Sorry, give me one moment.
Take your time, take your time. Did great, did great.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Nikki Grant. I'm a resident of West Philadelphia in District 3. I want to first thank this body for passing the ICE Out legislation and Safe Healthy Homes. I was encouraged to see you all standing up for the dignity of our immigrant and renter neighbors. Know that we are with you as you continue to fight for our right to breathe clean air and to keep our schools open. Today, I want to talk about what's missing from Mayor Parker's budget that fails to meet the moment. Mobile crisis teams are a life-saving resource for people experiencing a mental health crisis. We know it works. As you heard on Monday, more and more people are using this service, but the city is not keeping up with the demand. Last year, we had the chance to add just $3 million to help meet that demand, and it didn't happen. You can fix that this year. You also heard from DBH-IDS that the coming changes to Medicaid will see an estimated 84,000 Philadelphians on the low end lose their coverage and access to mental health services. As someone who has been on Medicaid in order to get the medication I needed for my mental health, I can tell you that it is already challenging system to navigate when you are just trying to make it through the day. I urge council to ensure there's emergency health care funding to support people who will fall through the cracks. Finally, I ask that council allocate $500,000 for the Abortion Liberation Fund of Pennsylvania. In the wake of 2022 Dobbs decision, Philadelphia became a national leader in protecting abortion access by directly funding its local abortion fund. As you saw in the last week, the crisis is far from over. In fact, federal attacks on reproductive health care are intensifying, as we knew they would. Despite this, Parker's budget stripped funding for ALFPA last year. This body can do the right thing and commit $500,000 to ALFPA so that Philadelphians who are living in deep poverty can access abortion care. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members, President Johnson. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. My name is Gabe Carrion, and I'm a full-time assistant professor of physics and engineering at the Community College of Philadelphia, and have been at the college for 3 years. I'm also a proud member of AFT Faculty and Staff Federation of CCP, Local 2026. And I am here today to ask City Council to increase funding for CCP and for CCP's administration to follow through on promises that were made to the CCP community during our last collective bargaining agreement. Promises and funding that would significantly benefit the lives of the members of the CCP community as a whole, and specifically our student body. I'm asking on behalf of the CCP, specifically I'm asking on behalf of the CCP community for free transit passes for students and for the development of a child care center, that would cater to the children of students, staff, and faculty. As you already may be aware from President Marshall's statements yesterday, a significant portion of CCP students come from working class households. Households where resources are already stretched far too thin and where relief from the cost of transportation and childcare could go a long way to help our students focus on education. I've known countless students who couldn't make it to class because they couldn't afford the cost of transportation. Students blocked from learning solely due to cost. Additionally, about 20% of my students have children. And during my time at CCP, I've had many students who have had to skip class because they couldn't secure childcare. Students who had to make a choice between getting an education or taking care of their child. No student, and better yet, no parent, should have to make this choice. Transit passes and childcare would relieve a significant burden on our students and allow them to focus on what they should be doing, which is getting an education. This past Saturday, Mayor Parker spoke at CCP's commencement. In her address, Mayor Parker shared moving and inspirational stories about her humble upbringing, being born to a teenage mother and raised by her grandparents. She shared how her family was on welfare and how her grandmother would stand in the line at the welfare office and felt like her dignity was not respected just because she needed help. And that's all our students are asking for, is help. Now, I would guess that Mayor Parker's mother and grandparents at times would have loved to have subsidized transportation or childcare offered by their jobs, but sadly, that was not the case. But we have a chance to change that. For the next Mayor Parker, who might currently be sitting in a classroom at CCP, and increased funding for CCP transit passes and childcare could make it so that the next mayor doesn't have to face the challenges that our current mayor did. Thank you very much.
Good morning, council members. My name is Cortez Fox. I'm speaking on behalf of my peer Neville Petrie, a student of Science Leadership Academy in the 5th District. I'm here in support of attaining funding for the district. Thank you. Due to the funding deficit that is present in the district, my Algebra 2 teacher and possibly future statistics teacher is being laid off at the end of the year. In addition to that, right now our school only has 2 statistics teachers, and next year it will be only 1. To add even more to that, next year our school will admit more students it has in prior years. This means that in addition to losing a teacher, we're also gaining more students. This will lead to an unstable teaching environment with bigger classes. While my math teacher supports me, it is also everyday staff members in the building who supports my academic endeavors. Lastly, while the Uber tax will generate significant amounts of funding for our district, I cannot bring myself to support it if it means the cost will be picked up by Philadelphians. Our economy is already becoming more and more expensive, and these taxes will be paid by everyday Philadelphians, and not only the 1%. We were given talking points to support the Uber tax, and one more that the 1% of people who depend on Uber make under $50,000. But even as a 16-year-old, I know that $50,000 is barely enough to get by, especially if you have to rely on Uber. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear. Let's give him another round of applause. It was so good to see you. Our young people providing advocacy. We're so proud of you, and we hope that you continue to do so. Please proceed. State your name for the record.
My name is Lorraine Mobley. I am a lifelong resident of Philadelphia, an active voter, and a member of the Rebuilding Together Philadelphia Executive Board. The housing crisis, and also we are a member of Philadelphia Coalition for Affordable Communities. The housing crisis in Philadelphia is real. We need to recognize it and consciously do something about it. In Philadelphia, more than 1 in 4 homeowners are paying more than they can afford for their housing expense, leaving little or no money for other necessities. Since 2000, the median home value rose 120%, while median income rose only 7%. Half of all Philadelphia's household earns less than $62,000, and 100,000 of those households earn less than $15,000. It's not that the owner-occupant doesn't want to fix their home, that they have the money and won't do it. They just don't have the money. I drove through my old neighborhood the other day, and the only things that was the same were the names of the streets. The entire area had been gentrified. There were no familiar buildings except for the Catholic Church. It was like my past had been erased, became invisible. I mean, this is happening all over Philadelphia. In North, West, and South Philadelphia, displacement due to rising housing costs has pushed more than 40% of Black residents out of their neighborhoods since 2000. The crisis is breaking our communities apart. Good home repair programs can change this. It will preserve housing stock and slow down gentrification. We're here today because we want you to know about the housing needs in your districts, to invest $80 million in basic system repairs, $15 million in adaptive modification, $140,000 million in rental housing production and preservation, $6 million in a shallow rent program, and $45 million in eviction diversion rent payments. I want to personally thank Councilperson O'Rourke and City Council for passing that Safe Home bill. I just want to say this here. It showed strength and compassion and empathy for standing up for those who could not stand up for themselves, and I thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Miles Owen. I'm a resident of Brewery Town in the 5th District, a regular user of our roads and transit systems, and the Vision Zero Committee co-chair for Fisk Square Advocacy, and someone who nearly every day sees deadly actions on our streets. I live right on Girard Ave. I love the vibrancy, the accessibility to stores and transit, and most importantly, the people. Every day there are people walking, connecting with neighbors, pushing baby strollers, enjoying the sun at an outdoor cafe, and waiting for the bus and trolley. Every day, I also see people get hit or almost get hit by vehicles. I've lost count of the crashes I personally witnessed on just my corner. Last summer, my windows shook when a car exploded after a drunk driver collided with a light pole. Right now, the vibrancy of Girard is in spite of our unsafe streets, not because of it. It's amazing people walk anywhere at all with how dangerous it can be out there. This year, 33 people have been killed in traffic violence in the city of Philadelphia. These are your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, people who just wanted to freely and safely move about our city, but were killed because of how we design our streets and enforce our traffic laws. We know how to reduce and eliminate these deaths and all the injuries and trauma that traffic violence causes. Vision Zero is a field-tested, results-proven method to create safer streets for all users of the road. By using design to slow down vehicles, create protected lanes for more vulnerable road users, and enforcing the traffic laws we have in the book, other cities throughout the U.S. have implemented Vision Zero recommendations and seen results. Philly only invests $5 million. That's the same as last year, which means with inflation, we are actually cutting the Vision Zero budget for this year. For $2 million more, we can address this inflation, build more safety infrastructure which protects more people, supports communities, and saves lives. 33 deaths is 33 too many. Please support the ability to safely travel around our city. Vision Zero works, it just needs your support. Thank you.
Can we have Paul Prescott, Jarrett Johnson, Shannon Crentini, Madison Nardi, Natasha Daniela de Lima McGlynn, Raymond King, and Heidi Gornock. Please come to the podium.
All right. Good morning. My name is Jared Johnson. I'm a lead transit organizer for Fifth Square Advocacy and Transit Forward Philadelphia. I'm here to support the expansion of the student fares and also the support of zero fares for adults. Making zero fares permanent. Our youth, first for the student fares, our youth deserves a chance for independence to get to school, after-school jobs, shopping, and leisure activities, as well as summer opportunities and internships without cost barriers. Right now, student fare cards do not work on weekends, holidays, and all summer long, when students have programs or jobs to reach. Not all students are delinquents. There are young people that want to have a future and strive in society. Students in New York City, Seattle, and Washington, and D.C. have 24/7 access to student fares, with New York City and Seattle having no geographic restrictions at all. Zero fare, the second thing I want to talk is zero fares. Zero fare is important because it'll give families and adults that have low incomes a chance to thrive in society as well. I know a woman who works in the sports stadiums, and she works for Aramark. She has a daughter that's a sophomore in high school who goes to Philadelphia, the school district of Philadelphia, but yet on nights and weekends and summers, when her student fare card is not acceptable, it's hard for her to shell out money for her daughter to get somewhere. So she has to sacrifice her time when she's off just so her daughter can have a good time. And that's unacceptable. We got to pay it forward. I have a vehicle. I still ride at least once a week with the one-day convenience pass at SEPTA at $7.50. It's better than parking, which is like $19 for a day. I do this because I want to pay it forward for those who rely on public transit. I used to ride public transit every single day, so I'm paying it forward and also looking out for your neighbor as well who is in need. By expanding these programs, it will open doors for adults and kids. It'll give them a chance to explore the outside. It'll give young families with the kids, one of those families that are with us today, and you'll hear for her story a little later. We'll tell your story. So, in conclusion, I'm going to quote a paraphrase or a line from James Brown. Please, please, please invest in our youth because they're our future. Because you're looking at the next city council woman or man. You're looking at the next news reporter, news anchor. You're looking at the next basketball star. So please invest in our youth. They're our future. Our youth depends on it. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to start off by thanking this council for passing Ice Out and Safe Healthy Homes. And I want to highlight that that is what responding to real community needs looks like. My name is Madison Nardi. I'm the executive director of 215 People's Alliance. We organize residents across Northeast Philly, and the choices in this budget.
Pardon me one moment.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
apologize for the interruption. Council will be at ease. Please proceed.
Can I restart?
Well,
Okay, great.
Pardon me one moment. If you could just restart the clock for this constituent so that she could restart, that would be appreciated. Thank you kindly. Please proceed.
Thank you. Shout out again for passing Ice Out and Safe Healthy Homes. That's what real leadership looks like. My name is Madison Nardi. I'm the Executive Director of 215 People's Alliance. We organize residents across Northeast Philly, and the choices in this budget are actively hurting working people. Our city has just lost 17 schools in addition to the 24 schools we lost in 2013 when I was in high school. I am a lifelong resident of South Philly. I went to Creative and Performing Arts on Broad and Christian. In 2013, we didn't have a musical that year. Insane, and our kids deserve better, and we don't need to backtrack to that. So while our city in the last 13 years has just lost over 30 schools, close to 45. At the same time, the city has supported the opening of 64 charter schools in the last 30 years. So we have to ask ourselves, why are we closing public schools that serve majority Black students in the city while continuously funding systems that profit off of their same education? Instead of taxing wealth, we are being asked to support a regressive Uber tax that working families will feel immediately, even though it does nothing to solve the structural deficit of our public schools. Families are relying on rideshare more because SEPTA is underfunded due to state Republicans refusing to pass real transit funding. At the same time, companies like Waymo are preparing to enter the city, raising concerns about public safety, reshaping public transit, and threatening jobs, while the largest corporations like Waymo continue to avoid paying their fair share in taxes. This tax system is backwards. This city has rolled back BERT relief that has once helped small businesses and are now being hit with higher tax bills they cannot absorb. Meanwhile, instead of closing loopholes for developers, officials are considering expanding the 10-year tax abatement while our schools and services are asked to do more with less. This pattern is clear. Relief is being taken from working people while the wealth at the top is being protected. We are heading towards deeper cuts, loss of health care, and more displacement in the city. This budget does not meet the moment. We need City Council to pass the People's Tax Plan and take this fight to the state level and urge our state leaders to pass the Tax Billionaires Fund PA legislation. Stop balancing this budget off the backs of working people, and it's time to tax the rich. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shannon Cornetti. I'm here on behalf of Access Matters, which is a public health organization based in and serving Philadelphians with a focus on sexual and reproductive health. I'm here to request support for a very important adolescent health program in Philadelphia schools. Since the 1970s, Access Matters has been working to ensure adults and adolescents in Philly have access to high-quality, medically accurate sexual and reproductive health information and services. One of our key programs for adolescents is our Health Resource Center program. It was established in 1991, which is 35 years ago for those of us Gen X who can't believe the 90s were that long ago, in Philadelphia to provide spaces in schools where youth can access healthcare information and referrals for services from trusted and trained adults without facing the barriers that we hear from teens all the time, like accessing transportation and figuring out payment. This program serves youth 13 to 19 in Philly, providing sexual health education and counseling, mental health screenings and referrals, and other related health services. We're located in 22 schools in Philadelphia, reaching more than 3,000 adolescents each year. The Health Resource Center program is a vital source of information and healthcare for adolescents in Philly, but funding in this program is in jeopardy, and it's critical for the city to invest again in this program. In fiscal year 2025, this program reached 3,100 students in Philadelphia, an additional 19,000 students throughout their outreach activities and events, 7,000 adults, including parents and caregivers and youth-serving professionals like teachers and counselors. The staff made 11,000 referrals to school-based and social health resources, connecting students to vital resources, conducted over 1,000 mental health screenings, and over 600 STI tests, all at no cost to students. In closing, health resource centers provide a comprehensive adolescent health and prevention model to support adolescents, especially in higher need communities, to build the knowledge, confidence, and skills they need for healthy relationships and informed decision-making, while reducing risks such as unintended pregnancy, HIV, and STIs. Ensuring this critical resource remains for youth in Philly is vital to the future of our city, and we're urging council to include and approve a one-year investment of $500,000 in city funding for the Access Matters Health Resource Center program to sustain this important service for youth in Philly. Thank you so much.
My name is Ray King, and I live on the edge of the city, actually, in just a short walk from 69th Street Terminal. I'm retired, so I spend a lot of time outside. I bike, I walk, I use SEPTA. When I choose to bike into the city, I like to come down Chestnut Street because I feel much safer with the parking protected bike lane, and we need to get more of that. I also ride the L a lot, and because I'm a senior, I ride for free, and more people need to be able to have that same benefit. Everyone deserves safe and affordable transit and mobility options, and no one deserves injury or death because they had to go to work or run an errand, although that happens. And that shouldn't happen. By investing in transit, Vision Zero, and the circuit trails, we are investing in safe and affordable mobility. Vision Zero needs more funding. This program is aimed at safety, and that is why it is important. And I thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Heidi Gorniak, and I'm the Vice President of Programs at the Food Trust, a nonprofit working to ensure that all Philadelphians can access and afford healthy food. Today, I'm here to urge City Council to invest in the nutrition security of our residents by supporting proven programs that are focused on healthy food access, affordability, and nutrition education in the FY27 budget. This includes continued support for food bucks programming, as well as support for farmers markets and healthy corner stores, and investment in the soon-to-be-released Food and Nutrition Security Task Force recommendations. In Philadelphia, too many residents struggle with poor nutrition and food insecurity, often being forced to choose between eating healthy and eating enough. These challenges have real consequences, including high rates of chronic disease, increased economic burden on the city, and higher healthcare costs, and reduced workforce productivity. At the same time, the safety nets and federal programs that were set up for decades to address these challenges are being decimated. Due to recent changes in SNAP guidelines, tens of thousands of Philadelphia residents face growing barriers to retaining their SNAP benefits and real uncertainty about where their next meal will come from. End SNAP Ed, a $12 million investment in our city, has been completely eliminated. That program improved access to healthy foods, supported local farmers and retailers, and offered nutrition and cooking skills education to children, adults, and families. We now stand at the precipice of losing established programs and critical infrastructure, while organizations have to make impossible decisions about how to significantly scale back their services. Now more than ever, Philadelphia residents are relying on their city leaders to help fill these gaps. Over the past year, we've been encouraged by City Council's commitment to nutrition security. We're grateful to Council Member Ahmed and Mayor Parker for their role in securing $500,000 for the Philadelphia Food Bucks program. That investment has already helped residents purchase over $250,000 worth of fresh fruits and vegetables at over 50 retailers across the city, supporting both families and local businesses. It's a great start, but more is needed for FY27. We hope that not only will Food Bucks funding be renewed in the upcoming year, but also be expanded to support nutrition education and healthy food retail interventions that work synergistically to improve nutrition security, including support for farmers markets and healthy corner stores in neighborhoods that accept these food bucks. We also applaud Council President Johnson for his exemplary leadership in launching the Food and Nutrition Security Task Force and his staff for their careful support. Its newly completed and soon-to-be released recommendations focusing on access, education, and affordability are actionable and grounded in proven strategies. But without funding, they're nothing but a wish list. With funding, they promote coordination across the food ecosystem and become real solutions, signaling to our residents that we're not only committed to their emergency food needs, but the future of health for the long term. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I am Natasha Daniela DeLima McGlynn, Executive Director of Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia, AVP. I am a co-victim of homicide, a survivor of violence, and a Latina immigrant. And I'm here today on behalf of the 9 external victim service providers funded by the City of Philadelphia through Class 200 funding in the District Attorney's Office. So we are here in support of Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner's testimony before City Council this past Monday. Collectively, our agencies provide critical services each year to tens of thousands of Philadelphians impacted by violence. We support children, adults, families through counseling, advocacy, legal support, relocation assistance, court accompaniment, victim compensation assistance, and long-term stabilization. The list actually goes on. This is an extraordinarily difficult and uncertain moment for victim service providers, not only in Philadelphia and across the Commonwealth, but nationally as well. Many community-based victim service agencies, including those in Philadelphia, rely heavily on funding through the Federal Victims of Crime Act, VOCA, as a primary source of operational support. VOCA funding is derived from federal criminal fines and settlements, and those revenues have been significantly declining in recent years nationwide. So as a result, VOCA funding across Pennsylvania was reduced by 5% in 2024, and it is scheduled to be reduced an additional 7.5% effective this October. These reductions, for organizations that already have thin margins, these reductions are significant. At the same time, reductions in federal support for nonprofit and human service organizations have dramatically reshaped the funding landscape for organizations like ours. Simply put, decreased federal funding means there are fewer federal funding opportunities available to sustain victim services and violence prevention work. This places enormous pressure on community-based victim service providers, and perhaps most concerning, decreased federal funding forces us to compete with one another for shrinking resources, despite the fact that our work is deeply interconnected. And that is precisely why increased local investment is so critical right now. And that is also precisely why the District Attorney's augmentation last year was so significant. At the request of DA Krasner, City Council approved a one-time augmentation to the grants provided to us by the District Attorney's Office. And it was the first meaningful increase in funding by the District Attorney's Office in over 15 years. The approximately $90,000 increase per agency was transformative. It allowed our organizations to stabilize staffing, sustain and even expand programming, and continue delivering critical services in the aftermath of violence. The value of this investment is not just monetary, it's not just the funding itself, but the flexibility that comes with it. Local funding allows us to respond to real community needs in ways that many federal funding streams don't allow us to. Let me share an example. According to a 2025 Gun Violence Resiliency Report on Philadelphia by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, this red light is really scaring me, the top method for community-based victim service agencies to provide outreach to community members in need of services
Please conclude your testimony.
Is through community events. Yes, community events, the very kind that each of you sponsor and which you graciously invite our organizations to attend to share information and resources with your constituents. Community events are vital to increasing public awareness of the victim support services and violence intervention and prevention programs available to Philadelphians at no cost. For us, community events help us expand our reach. Yet federally funded grants...
I need to ask you to conclude your testimony. We must keep it fair for everyone who's here, and we appreciate you coming, but you must conclude.
So, in conclusion, investing in our agencies is investing in our communities and investing in Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you, and we hear your message, and we thank you very much for coming. This committee will stand in recess until 2 p.m.